Next on the traveling ballot, it's time to get serious. As professional glass artist Luke Go demonstrates the art of stained glass painting to our most fabulous apprentice yet.
If I were to give you an assignment, do an art piece on the skyline. Okay, what will you say?
I'll give it to you when I'm 65.
How will John's laid-back attitude affect his final art piece? Find out on the traveling ballot tonight at 9:30. An Art Central original. Get ready for Mosaic Monday.
A learning journey between an artist and an apprentice to seek out a scene that touches their hearts. One artist, one apprentice, one scene, two interpretations. The Traveling Palette.
My earliest memory of working on stained glass is when I was about 12. I started helping my mom with her stained glass projects. Back then, she was doing it as a hobby, so it seemed natural for me to help her out, and I think I've been doing that for the last 20 years. The thing I find special about stained glass or art glass is that its mysterious ability to transmit light and the various intensities and changing angles of light reflections to bring about more depth and a lot of very interesting and intangible aesthetic values.
My first encounter with stained glass art was a very little project when I was in primary school even, I think. As a child, I wasn't scared of glass because in Dutch, you have a very famous proverb that says that when you break glass, it brings luck. Probably it's also an excuse, I don't know, that when you break something, you say, oh, it brings luck. And goes, I'm very lucky. I chose stained glass art because it's not the artwork itself. So you make an artwork when you draw something, when you paint something, it's just the artwork. It looks very nice, that's it. But when you make stained glass art, when you make a nice piece, okay, it's the piece itself, very nice. But it only starts when the light shines through. So you have, in fact, a second dimension to it.
Our objective for today, I think, is to try and absorb all the vibes culturally, architecturally, and artistically from what we can get from this environment, to try to inculcate it into our art.
My first objective is to learn how Luke observes things, how he looks at buildings, what he uses in his artworks. My second objective is to pick up on some ideas that I can use for my assignment of the master.
Well, right now I'm feeling a bit of, you could say excitement and a bit of anxiety because I've never done this before. But I'm quite excited to find out how we relate to each other, what ideas bounce off each other.
Luke is a very capable guy, I think. I've spoken to him, he's very good, he's very creative, he knows what he's doing, and I'm really looking forward to work with him, yes. Okay, Luke, I chose the area, so where are we going to go now?
Well, let's go see the new toy in town.
New toy?
Yeah. Well, here we are at the Singapore Flyer.
Look, but when you make something like this, do you just make it as it is, or do you distort it, that when people look at your artwork, that they have to think a bit and then maybe say, okay, it's, I think, the Singapore Flyer, but they're not sure? How do you do this?
Well, I would go as close as possible to what it looks like, you know. To do something abstract in a simple form like this, you probably couldn't recognize it when I'm done with it. You wouldn't know what it is.
So from this angle, would you use all small pieces of glass to cover all these the cables that cross?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly how I would do it, because if you don't cut it piece per piece to show the intricacy of the work, you know, then you lose the beauty of it. That's my view of this.
How long do you work on an artwork like this? If you had to make this a lot of small pieces?
Well, it's really hard to say, because depends on how badly I wanted to do it. You know, if I wanted to do it very badly, I could maybe do it in 2 or 3 days.
Okay.
If it didn't really interest me, if it didn't really interest me, I'd probably take a week or so. Yeah. Let's take a look at the other side first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go. Nice view.
This is the Singapore skyline, our financial district. So John, if I were to give you an assignment to do an art piece on the skyline,
okay,
what would you say?
I'll give it to you when I'm 65. Okay?
Well,
maybe pieces of glass, right?
If it's up to me, I would just pick maybe a part of a building, right? Yeah. If we didn't want to do something too broad with too much detail, maybe just a certain part of the building. You know, something that makes it different.
To me, when I look at the whole skyline, look, if I have to finish this in one day, I think it's like the 8th world wonder or something. And one building, maybe it's a bit too static, a bit too boring. I don't know. What do you think?
What do you mean, man? This is the Singapore skyline. Don't you work there?
Yes, I love the Singapore skyline, but as an apprentice, I don't think so.
This is Anderson Bridge, named after a former governor of Singapore. I think it was built sometime in the early 1900s.
Okay. When I look at the bridge itself, if you have to cut all the pieces, do you think we can finish it in one day? Maybe a bit difficult.
I mean, compared to the flyer which we saw just now, yeah, you could say a lot more detail up close, but I don't know. Personally, I find it quite, if I can use the word, boring. Well, John, this is the Victoria Theatre and Concert Hall.
I think it looks a bit like all the other pieces. It's all white. How come everything is white? I mean, how are we going to use this with glass?
Well, I mean, you have to use your imagination. That's what art is about, you know.
Okay.
You know,
Sorry.
Well, no, don't worry about that. I mean, you know, about colors, I mean, yeah, as artists, we don't have to follow exactly what we see. You know, we can imagine. That's what imagination is about. That's what creativity is about.
Okay. I understand. I mean, I also like it, but still, for a glass painting with different colors, it's still a bit difficult for me. So maybe we can continue our tour. Sorry, Luke. Is it okay?
Well, yeah, let's go then.
Okay. How do you do this with glass art? How do you create the 3D effect?
Well, 3D effect is pretty simple with glass. What we do is we use either a darker shade, you know, to give it like a tone or depth, or we can always paint in the details. But of course, that's at a more advanced level.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd love to do something like this with all the details and the 3D effects, like what you mentioned, but it might be a bit too complicated. Hey John, so we've seen quite a bit today.
Okay.
So let me take you to our last location, the esplanade.
The durians.
Yeah.
Okay.
As you can see, it's about to rain, so let's have a look around here before we seek for shelter.
Okay.
What was your first thought when you first saw this?
I thought about durians, right?
Yeah, that's right. So what could be more Singaporean than durians, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
What I like is the different kind of pieces. I think it looks pretty simple to use it for first project.
You read my mind.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you look at the triangles, nice triangles, although they are simple shapes, but we get to see a lot of different tones, different angles, and you know, it looks really very distinctive. Firstly, a very controversial piece of architecture, but I think it's grown to be somewhat of a local icon, and whether you hate it or love it, you just can't ignore it. So that quality in itself drew me to pick that as a subject matter for our art piece. Looking at all these pictures or murals here, free-form dances into the piece itself, it really shows a bit of freedom of expression and artistic. So on the top here, I'd like to put some of the dancers here, the forms which we see here. You know, gives it a bit more lively. You know, gives the piece more life, gives it more excitement. I think more movement. Yeah, we're going to have to refine this a lot, and then you know, we have to do it in a way that still maintains the curves, nice little curves, irregular curves, while making it possible for glass.
Well, my closest encounter with stained glass art was a little project that I did in school. So I think I will need his tips, definitely, to work on this, yes.
Well, right now I'm trying to get the roof just right with the angles and trying to get some triangles there, trying to simplify it.
It's a bit nerve-wracking because it's pretty big, so I'm a bit worried because I have to finish it in one day. I mean, we are still drawing now, cutting the glass. It has to go very fast, so I hope Luke will be able to teach me the techniques so that everything goes very fast. Yes. So now we just finished inking our work, and I'm also about to finishing numbering the pieces. According to Luke, it's better to do this in advance. We make 2 pieces. So in order to avoid that it becomes a very big jigsaw puzzle, it's better to number them so that we know where to put the small pieces afterwards.
Once we're happy with the design, and then we will start to, cut the template out for glass cutting. For me, to complete cutting this piece, something like this piece, would take me about a day.
Look. Yeah.
I know what you're going to ask.
You cut the whole thing, you need 1 whole day time, right? So how are we going to finish this in 1 day, the complete thing?
A lot of prayer and some faith. Cut that out. Do you know what colors goes where?
No.
For each piece?
I was a bit stunned when he started talking about colors already, because I didn't know that we had to think about this during the cutting already. So it's good that he noticed this. I'm very curious how the finished work will look like, because we chose some daring colors, so maybe it will look like.
Okay, now we are almost done with our template cutting.
Yes. So what's the next step now?
Next step is something you've been waiting for, is glass cutting.
Okay. Originally, I wanted 3 dancers, but after all the work involved, I decided to take 2 dancers only, and to cover the 3rd dancer just with 1 piece of background. Which was more interesting because all the cutting involved the small pieces, it would take too much time, and since we have to finish it in 1 day, it would be impossible for me.
You and your one-liners. Completed cutting our entire panel. Okay. Next stage is grinding. Alright? So we need to grind each and every piece. Firstly, to grind off the sharp edges, and secondly, to make sure they fit in your design.
And when they are too big, you cannot finish your piece. So then you grind it to make the edges a bit more smooth, and then also to make everything fit like a puzzle.
Stained glass is a lifetime of satisfaction because I get to improve my skills, and every time I complete a project, it gives me a sense of accomplishment.
Patience, patience, patience. Yeah. Patience, patience, patience. At this point of time, I feel very excited that I finished the foiling so that I can proceed with the soldering to finish the whole part.
Well, soldering is actually using a soldering iron and some solder. And we're going to solder each line together and each piece together to form a complete panel.
I have a small hole here.
Need to fill it up.
Completely with this?
Yep.
Serious?
After soldering, your piece will be a panel, and we're pretty much done after that.
You're done?
Yeah. Want to have a look?
Yes, 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 I want to see.
Yeah.
Okay. That looks nice, huh? This dancer really makes a difference. Combination of colors. I thought maybe it would be better to choose one color, but it looks very nice.
Yeah, thank you.
So Luke, how are you going to call this panel?
Well, I was thinking I'll call this panel Freedom.
Nice
What do you think about that?
Yes, nice name. I mean, the dancers look very
freedom of expression.
free,
Yeah.
Okay, Luke, I'm done.
Wow, good work, John. I'm really impressed. I didn't really think you could finish it, but you did.
Thank you.
So what are you going to call your panel?
I haven't really thought about that, but since there's so much patience involved, maybe we can call it Patience.
Patience?
What do you think?
I think that's a very good name. Yeah, very good name.
When you look at the work that the master made and the work that I made, maybe you'll think that, look, it's more or less the same. But when you take a closer look, then you'll really notice that the master, his piece is a lot more complex. He has a lot more pieces, so a lot more small pieces to cut, and you cannot imagine how difficult it is to do that.
In terms of my objectives, I think they are fully met in this recce trip and the experience we had today. In that we managed to finish the piece, and more importantly, I managed to pass on some skills to my apprentice so that he could finish this as well.
The Master Luke, is a very nice guy. He really tries to help you. He really tries to give you tips, and it's really useful what he says. It's not. He understands also your level of your knowledge of the stained glass art, which was almost zero. So he really knew about this. It was okay for him. He really believed in it, and with his tips, I was able to do it. Otherwise, never.
What can you say about John? He's a very humorous guy, always pulling jokes, but when it came to doing the actual work, he was pretty serious. And I'm glad to say that he exceeded my expectations.
The overall experience was, I have a bit two feelings when I think back, when I think about this day. The first thing is that it was very interesting to learn something new, something that I've never done before. And another thing is that usually I want everything to be very fast. At the same time, I'm also a perfectionist, so it was a bit difficult to be myself in this thing, because it's not possible to do it very fast. So that's why I call it patience.
The one word I can describe this whole experience is enriching. It has certainly enriched my experience as an artist, and it has enriched my knowledge of our local history and background.
I've been in Singapore for more than 2 years now. That's it, right? That's the only thing you ask. I mean, what else you want to know?
Hey, that's very sure. What do you think of the colors?
It's nice. That's very good. A bit better than mine. Okay, look, I love you. I love your panel. Look, I love you. Look. Now, what do you want me to say? I mean,
What to say? What you call it? John. Yes, master. Show me the force. Thank you.